Thank you all for attending this afternoon council meeting as we celebrated earlier Hispanic Heritage Month. And thank you everyone that participated in that. Let the record show all council members are present except Councilwoman Cobb and Councilman Solomon. We will have invocation and pledge of allegiance. Would you please stand? Most gracious Father, we thank you once again for your many blessings as we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, as we continue to move forward as a city to celebrate our uniqueness, our diversity, and us as a community. Continue to watch over our great country, our men and women in uniform, our first responders, our residents, our staff, our council members, and our Central Texas community. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for participating. Thank you, Councilmember Kendrick. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Mayor Pro Tem Adams, let the record show Councilman Solomon is here.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the agenda.
Councilmember Alvarez,
Mayor, I second that motion.
all in favor, yes, all opposed, no. Motion carries 6-0. This is a work session. Discuss agenda items 1 through 9 for the October 7th, 2025 regular session. No final actions until regular session. Madam Secretary.
LMN 25024, consider minutes of regular city council meeting of September 2nd, 2025.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, ma'am. RS 25155, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the procurement of Brother Mobile Printer hardware from GTS Technology Solutions in the amount of $190,916.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. The item before you tonight is the procurement of Brother Printer hardware in amount of $190,916. So the Clayton Police Department continues to modernize their field operations to improve efficiency, accuracy, and officer safety. Currently, patrol officers issue citations using limited in-vehicle technology and handwritten paper tickets. This process is time-consuming, prone to errors, and create inefficiencies in data entry and record management. With the department's transition to the NICE record management system, it is critical to equip the units with technology that supports the real-time data entry and integration. To address this need, KPD proposes the purchase of Brother mobile printers from patrol units, enable officers to print citations and other documents directly from their in-car systems. GTS Technology was selected for the procurement of 182 Brother mobile printers and associated equipment using the TIPS contract 230105. The amount of the one-time expenditure for fiscal year 2026 is $190,916, and this is budgeted into the CIP program for the niche conversion. Staff recommends that the City Council authorize the procurement of the Brother mobile printers from GTS Technology in the amount of $190,916 and authorize the city manager or designee to execute any and all change orders as permitted by state and local law. And I'm available for any questions that you might have.
Thank you, sir. There are no questions.
All right, thank
Madam
you.
Secretary.
RS 25156, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the purchase of police equipment, body armor, and accessories and ammunition from GT Distributors Incorporated for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $337,000.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council. This is our annual renewal to purchase police duty gear and ammunition. The Killeen Police Department acquires police duty gear, body armor, and ammunition from GT Distributors Incorporated, which serves as the sole authorized law enforcement distributor in Texas for Vista Outdoor, the parent company of Federal Premium and Spear Ammunition. Ammunition purchases are made through the TXMAS contract, while duty gear and body armor are procured through the TASB buy-born contract. Sufficient funds for these purchases have been allocated in the police department's budget. These are previous fiscal year expenses, and our projected amount for 2026 is $127,000 for ammunition, $180,000 for duty gear and body armor, and $30,000 to replace handguns and rifles, for a total of $337,000. Staff recommends that the city manager or his designee be authorized to execute the described purchase of police duty gear, body armor, and ammunition from GT Distributors through purchasing cooperatives TXMAS and TASB by board, an expense not to exceed $337,000 in funds for the 2026 fiscal year. I'll be open to any questions you may have.
Thank you. There are no questions. Madam Secretary.
RS 25157, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the procurement of fleet vehicles and equipment in the amount of $9,150,254.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, City Council, Mr. Cagle. This item is for the procurement of fleet vehicles and equipment for fiscal year '26. Fleet Services manages 1,063 units of rolling stock, which includes maintaining the annual fleet procurement schedule. The procurement schedule is based upon available funding, vehicle age, maintenance costs, etc. The annual fleet procurement budget for FY '24 was $6 million, for FY '25 was $7.3 million, and for the current fiscal year '26 is $9.4 million, which includes $600,000 of additional fleet. Total of 62 units of fleet are being purchased in this request at a cost of $9,150,254, which includes 5 units for aviation, 1 for community development, 1 for mowing, 1 for parks and rec, 34 for public safety, and 20 for public works. The fleet being purchased are on the approved fleet procurement schedule and are budgeted and will be procured through cooperative contracts and an approved sole source exemption, which is in compliance with Texas Local Government Code and the city's purchasing policy. The recommendation is that City Council approve the procurement of the fleet vehicles and equipment in the amount of $9,150,254 and authorize the city manager or designee to execute change orders in accordance with state and local law. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. There are no questions.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary.
RS 25158, consider a memorandum resolution authorizing the Solid Waste Division to purchase containers for the City of Killeen's solid waste collection system and container replacement program in the amount of $668,155.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, Council, City Manager. Before you, I have the FY '26 solid waste container purchase. A little background, solid waste residential and commercial customers are charged a monthly fee based on the size and number of containers utilized. Solid waste maintains an inventory of containers and parts needed to accommodate normal growth and to replace lost or damaged containers. We are in year 4 of the container replacement program for residential and commercial customers, which was approved in FY '26 budget. A little bit more background. Solid Waste do obtain their quotes through a cooperative purchase agreement from Sourcewell and Buyboard. They are as follows: Total LLC, WasteQuip, Box Gang Manufacturing LLC, Roll-Offs USA. These funds are allocated in the current fiscal year budget in the amount of $668,155. Residential averages around 1,200 new accounts each year, and approximately 3,000 containers have been replaced annually through the container replacement program. In this slide here, you'll see an 8 cubic yard dumpster before and after refurbishment. These dumpsters do have a 4 to 6 year lifespan. Our solid waste division has a container repair shop where commercial containers are refurbished and reused, extending the life of these containers. Staff recommends City Council authorize the city manager or designee to procure residential solid waste containers for Toter LLC and commercial containers for Waste Quip, Box Gang Manufacturing LLC, and Roll-Offs USA through a cooperative contracts in an amount not to exceed $668,155. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Dudley,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you for stepping up as we move forward, looking for a public work executive director. You and your team have done an amazing job, and hopefully I'll get an invite to Public Work Appreciation luncheon. I didn't get it this year, but who's counting? But also, y'all doing a great job.
Well,
But I
thank
just
you.
want to personally say thank you for everything you do. You're
Thank you.
amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank
There are
you.
no questions.
All right.
Madam Secretary.
RS 25-159, consider a memorandum resolution denying Encore Electric's application to change rates within the city.
Thank you. Council, Madam City Attorney, have this item and 2 other items. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good
You over there
afternoon.
by yourself?
All by myself, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, this is your Encore rate case update. So a little bit of background. Cities exercise original jurisdiction over the level of electric rates charged within their boundaries, and Colleen is a member of the steering committee of cities served by Encore, along with 170 cities. Encore filed an application in June this summer, it's June 6, 2025, seeking to increase system-wide transmission and distribution rates by about $834 million, or approximately 13% over present revenues. The impact of the increase on an average residential customer would be about $7.90 per month. After previous city council action, Encore's rate request was suspended from taking effect for 90 days. During this period of time, the steering committee's experts analyzed the request, and they've determined that the proposed rate increase is unreasonable. And the steering committee recommends denial of Encore's rate application, at which point Encore will have 30 days to appeal the decision to the PUC, where the appeal will be consolidated with Encore's pending filing. So the recommendation here from staff and the steering committee is that we recommend adoption of the resolution finding that Encore's application to change rates should be denied, and that reasonable rate case expenses should be reimbursed by Encore.
Thank you. There are no questions. Madam Secretary.
RS 25-160, consider a memorandum resolution nominating candidates for the Board of Directors of the Tax Appraisal District of Bell County for 2026.
Madam City Attorney.
Thank you. All right, this is the item as we talked about at your last meeting. So recent changes to the Texas Property Code replaced the previous process for appointing the Board of Directors for the Tax Appraisal District of Bell County. So beginning this year, voters elected 3 members to serve on the board, and additionally, either 2 or 3 directors will be elected each year by taxing entities. So this year, for January 2026 beginning, we're going to be electing 2 directors for the entity elected positions. So all taxing entities will nominate up to 2 candidates before October 15th, 2025. And the Tax Appraisal District plans to send out the ballot with all nominations by the 30th of the month. And each entity receives a certain percentage of the 2,000 total votes based off the percentage of the total tax levy. So that makes Colleen that allows Colleen to have 218 of the 2,000 total votes. And once the city receives the ballot with all the nominations, the city will be required to adopt a resolution with its vote by the second meeting after receiving the ballot. So we're looking at doing that November 18th. But what you'll need to do tonight is nominate up to 2 candidates, so 1 or 2 candidates for the Tax Appraisal District of Bell County Board of Directors. If you have that name or names now, we can enter that in the record, and that can be voted on in your regular session. Or if you'd rather wait, we can pull it from the regular session items and vote on that separately.
Thank you. Council, last year I recommended Kendi Wales And this year, I would also like to recommend him, and he is in the audience, and he still has shown interest in this. But one of the things we discussed a couple of meetings ago, Councilmember Solomon brought up, is that we as a council will have to go to the other entities and ask them for their support, to support Francisco, are you talking to me? Okay. Yes, sir. To support Mr. Wells and whomever else that you may recommend. It is our responsibility, because I truly believe that as big as Colleen is, we need a representative there. So I'm challenging you and myself to really get involved and really talk to the other entities to support Mr. Wells, which that in return is a representative for the whole city of Killeen. So that's my recommendation, one of the persons. Mayor Pro Tem.
Madam Mayor, I agree with your recommendation. Also would like to nominate Ricky Williams.
So we have two nominations. He said Ricky Williams, former council member. Anything else, Councilwoman Cobb? Okay, those are our two recommendations. Anybody else have recommendations? Councilmember Sagara, do you have a recommendation?
No, I think those are good names. I just had a question. I know that a few meetings ago, we were talking about, and the same name, same candidates for maybe the water board. So I just want to make sure we, the new, what was that board that?
This is the tax appraisal district of Bell County Board of Directors.
Yeah, no, I
And
understand.
he was asked last year, we had him, but he didn't have the support to go out. We didn't support him to go out and talk to other entities, because the majority votes out of all of those entities that the city attorney sent us in the email are competing for those 3 slots. So it is that is our responsibility. Even though we recommend his name, if we don't get the votes, that does not mean that the city of Killeen will have
Yeah,
a position out of the 3.
No, that's fine. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Madam Secretary.
RS 25-161, consider a memorandum resolution increasing authorized funds to defend the Bell County lawsuit related to marijuana enforcement from $100,000 to $135,000.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney.
Thank you. Regarding the Bell County lawsuit regarding marijuana enforcement, on February 8, 2023, the city engaged Shields Winnups to represent the city in the lawsuit filed by Bell County seeking to invalidate the city's marijuana enforcement ordinance. The ordinance was adopted pursuant to the city charter initiative process, where citizens of Killeen voted to pass the ordinance. City Council previously ratified the agreement with Shields Winnups in an amount not to exceed $100,000 without further council approval. And so that's why we're here tonight, because additional funds are needed to continue to defend the lawsuit. So based on council's feedback, it is recommended that the city council increase authorized funding to defend the Bell County lawsuit related to marijuana enforcement from $100,000 to $135,000 at this time.
Okay. Councilmember Solomon. Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Councilman Solomon.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is in the consent items. Could we have this, I'm requesting that we would have this,
Separate.
yes.
All right, Councilmember Solomon would like for this item, PH-25-08, make sure it's an 8, not a 6, 060, I'm sorry.
RS 20.
I'm sorry, RS-25-161 to be pulled from the consent agenda when it's time to vote on it. And sir, that's an item that you can make a motion on, to pull that item off the consent before we vote on. Okay, sir?
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's all? Okay. Madam Secretary.
PH 25060. Hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance submitted by Republic Engineering on behalf of Boghossian Philip Living Trust and Sagaster Howard 401k Plan and Boghossian Philip Living Trust and Sagaster Watkins and Wheeland 401k Flume number 2505 to amend the comprehensive plan's future land use map from an industrial designation to a residential mix designation for approximately 122.64 acres out of the Vincent L. Evans survey. Abstract number 288. The subject properties are generally located east of the intersection of Roy J. Smith Drive and North Roy Reynolds Drive, Killeen, Texas.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. This item is a request to amend the city's future land use map for approximately 122 acres from industrial to residential mix. The subject properties, again, are located east of Roy J. Smith and north of Roy Reynolds Drive. If approved, the applicant intends to submit a subsequent request to rezone the subject property from M1 and R1 to a PUD plan unit development with a mix of 40-foot, 50-foot, and 60-foot single-family and two-family lots. Subject property is located within the controlled growth area on the growth sector map and designated industrial on the future land use map. The red star on your screen indicates the approximate location of the subject property. On the screen here, on the left-hand side of the screen is the existing future land use map, and on the right-hand side of the screen is the requested amendment to the future land use map. So again, the intent here is to change the designation of this area from industrial to residential mix. This exhibit shows the current future land use map designation of the property. The bold outline represents the area that is owned by the applicant. So you can see within that area, there are currently 254 acres designated for industrial use and 48 acres designated on the future land use map for residential mix. This exhibit reflects the proposed amendment. As you can see here, the proposed change would result in 130 acres to be designated on the future land use map for industrial and 172 acres to be designated for residential mix. I'm going to spend some time on this slide here because this is the existing zoning map for the city of Killeen. So this is what is allowed to be developed by right today. This area, as you can see here, the purple area on the screen represents the area that is zoned M1, which means that it's zoned for light industrial use. There's 109 acres zoned M1 and M2, and 193 acres currently zoned R1 single-family residential. That means that the applicant, by right, without requesting any type of amendments, can develop 193 acres of R1 on the property today. This exhibit reflects the land use that would correlate to the proposed Flume amendment. So you can see here, they're asking for 172 acres for residential and 130 for industrial. These charts, again, reflect how the proposed amendments relate to the current future land use map and current zoning. So you can see here, the current zoning, again, allows for 193 acres or 64% residential and 109 acres of industrial. The proposed land use will actually allow for 130 acres of industrial, which is more than is what is currently zoned for. This exhibit reflects the applicant's concept plan, so you can see here the area that's in that light purple color is the area that would be industrial. The remaining portions would be, as I said, single-family and two-family lots. This is a view of the subject property facing east from Roy Reynolds Drive. This is a view of from the subject property facing northwest on Roy Reynolds. This is a view from the subject property facing southwest towards Harker Heights. We notified 18 surrounding property owners regarding this request, and we've received 2 written responses in opposition. This is the notification boundary for that request. So staff finds that approval of the request will allow for more industrial land use than is currently allowed under the zoning of the property. We also find that the applicant's proposed concept plan provides for orderly development of the property by providing a suitable buffer between the proposed residential and industrial land uses. Staff is of the determination that the development of the property as contemplated by the applicant will allow for the timely development of approximately 130 acres of industrial property. Staff also finds that the addition of new market rate residential units in North Killeen is essential to attract new commercial investment to the area. At the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting on August 25th, staff's recommendation was for disapproval of the applicant's request. This recommendation was based on the large reduction in area available for future industrial development. On August 25th, the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended disapproval of the applicant's request by a vote of 7-0. Following the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, staff met with the applicant on September 5th. During this meeting, the applicant provided additional information regarding the request, which resulted in a change to the staff recommendation from disapproval to approval. So tonight, staff is recommending approval of the request to amend the future land use map designation from industrial to residential as presented. The applicant is here tonight and does have a brief presentation for the council as well, but I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. I have several questions for you.
Yes, ma'am.
As we move forward, as you know, we don't do presentations, applicants. That's something we don't do and we shouldn't be doing, because if we start, we're going to open. But since he's already have it and it's been approved by someone, I won't.
That's on me, Mayor.
Thank you. I won't stop him from doing his presentation, short, brief. My first question to you would be the disapproval staff, planning and zoning, the recommendation they disapprove. And what I'm asking you is not so much me or the council, this is for the public. That's going to be one of my questions. What made you change your mind? That's going to be one. And the second question would be the 2 residents that were in opposition. Could you please tell the public why they were in opposition? Okay.
The answer to your first question about the change to the staff's recommendation. So when this was initially presented to staff by the applicant, there was not a lot of information that was provided. And in looking at the gross acreage of area that is both undeveloped and designated as industrial on the future land use map, this proposed change would reflect a significant reduction in that area that is, again, designated for industrial and currently undeveloped. So at the time, staff's recommendation was based on that. After our meeting with the applicant, we had a lot of discussion about the current zoning of the property, which, as I pointed out during my presentation, the current zoning has a significant amount of area that is currently zoned R1 and therefore would allow them to develop more residential than they're asking for by right today. So essentially what they're doing is just reconfiguring where they can develop those land uses on their site. But in the end, what their proposal is for more industrial than is afforded by the current zoning of the property.
Right, and I would think people would be happy for that. That's just my opinion, but, all right, the 2 residents.
The opposition was based, as I recall, on essentially concern about development of the property in general as residential, and there was some concern about loss of privacy and that type of thing.
Right, but even if they didn't come before us, we had already zoned it, that they could put residential homes there anyway, correct?
They can put residential homes on the portions that are currently zoned R1, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so kindly for that. All right, any other questions? No, all right. Council member somebody. I hear something clicking. Council member Sagara.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say I'm looking at the map there on the second one where they rearranged it and put the industrial park kind of towards the road. Yeah, right there, that's a road, right?
Yes, there will be a collector road that extends east-west through the development, roughly like
Yeah.
this. So some of this, this is, I think, floodplain right in here, but some of this is the
And
road
that's
that
kind
will
of why
separate.
it's not a straight line, so that
So if I
makes
go back
sense.
to the concept plan, you can see here, this is the road coming through here. So in this area right in here, the road will serve as a buffer between the industrial and the residential development.
Yeah.
And then in this area here, it's the floodplain.
No, and looking at it, it makes more sense this way. I mean, especially having that industrial park there by the road, so I think it's a better design than what it was before, because then you put the homes kind of away from, and behind the industrial park, not right next door to it and right off the road. So, I think it's good. I think that I appreciate you guys taking a second look at it and working with them and coming up with some kind of good solution. So thank you for that. So that's all I have there.
Kudos, Councilman Sagara. This is going to be a great project for that area. So thank you. You really did an excellent job. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. All righty, any more? Okay, that's it. Thank you. We are now going into citizen comments. I got this, y'all. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I know y'all eager, but I got this. Thank you very much. He will be doing his presentation after we hear citizen comments. Stop playing, Ramon. All right. With that being said, Melissa Brown. Good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
Do I have the option of letting the developer come up and speak before me, so that way citizens know what the presentation is before we speak?
You have 3 minutes.
Okay, so that's a no. Let's start with, there's some really easy things on here, I think, that the city council can decide yes on. Anytime that it's safety for our first responders, such as the equipment for the police, that should be an easy yes. Anytime it talks about denying rate increases, that should be an easy yes, because after the last one, citizens are already suffering with their electric bills, where sometimes their delivery fees are more than their actual usage fees. And that's something that's decided on by the council. You get the final yes or no on that. Last time, it was decided that all of the residential and the commercial would increase, but the governmental rates would stay exactly the same. So if we're not paying any extra for streetlights, and we're not paying any extra for our park lights, then the electricity should be left on at the pavilions at our parks, because we're already paying for that anyway. As far as the lawsuit, let's get this straight. They're not coming to us with some frivolous stuff. They're actually keeping receipts, unlike some council members who bring lawsuits. They're actually bringing something that is within the law, unlike some mayors who bring frivolous lawsuits. There is reason for them to bring this. The district court judge has already told us what the decision is, that this is not allowable by state law as an enforceable ordinance because it contradicts the state law. If we can't enforce the state law, then we cannot have it on our books. It's that simple. Why would we continue to pay a losing battle? We're wasting taxpayer money at that point. You've already had an appellate court say no, that the county is right in what they're doing, and the state Supreme Court refused to pick it up because jurisdictionally the county is correct, and because even on the subject matter, the county is correct. Whether you like it or not, if you don't like it, go change the state law. When it comes to land banking, look, yeah, they've helped to make things look prettier. You know how they do that? They go in, they demolish all the properties that are vacant and abandoned. Realtors and developers get to come in, pick it up cheap, build it cheap. I know a council member who happens to own a construction company. And when you're trying to name the people that you want to manage this land bank, it just is not a good look at all. And then finally, I would say that when it comes to these decisions, make sure that you're looking at the long term, not the right now, not the immediate, but the long term, and how does it affect us years from now? Does land bank idea sounds
Thank
good?
you.
We lost money on the last properties we sold.
Is Ms. Deborah Winfolk or Winoff. If I mispronounce your name, please correct it when you come up. Good afternoon, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
It's Deborah Windorf, if that helps.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you
I
for
was
the
just
record.
concerned about this thing with the containers. When I see 6 figures anywhere, I just get a little bit nervous, especially when we have debt in the city already. And so unless there's a real good reason why we need to replace all these containers, I would just think that wouldn't be a good idea, because we're already in debt already, and let's use our money wisely on things that we absolutely need. Sounds like those things with the police and everything should be priority over that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Mr. Reynolds, could you come and answer that? And the city of Killeen is not in debt.
Yes, ma'am. As Mr. Daly stated.
Good
in his-
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor. As Mr. Daly stated in his presentation, we're in the 4th year of a 4-year container replacement program. About 5 years ago, as we did the assessment of the containers in the area, we had a lot of dilapidated containers out there that people were still using. So we went into a program to replace those dilapidated containers. It was a 4-year program. This is the last year of it. So about 192,000, rather than 193,000 of that $600-some thousand is dedicated to that program. That will not be in next year's budget because this is the final year of that program. But because we do have, as he stated earlier, about 1,230 new homes coming on board every year. People lose containers throughout the year. A lot of people want more than one container, so we have to have a surplus and an inventory of containers annually to supply that. Plus, this is the enterprise fund that the fees we collect for solid waste pays for all solid waste operations. So this is not a general fund item.
Yes, sir. So what I understood you to say that the city of Killeen is growing, and when people purchase a home, they want a container. When it's raining outside and there's bad storms, and I can attest to that, the water would take it down, and someone, unfortunately, they would take your container and would not return it back to you. So you can walk the neighborhood looking for that container, but you cannot find it. So you replace that. Also, sometimes when people are in their vehicles or things of that nature, they can really damage a lot of stuff, wear and tear, especially if you've been here since 1995.
Right.
It's a lot of wear and tear on that container. And then if residents do want a bigger container, they have that right. Is that correct, Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, ma'am. Everything you said is correct, and all that contributes to the reason to have the inventory annually of containers to be able to replace those containers when residents do buy new homes. We got new developments all over the city, as well as when current residents lose their container for whatever reason, storms, theft, whatever the situation, or they get damaged by the vehicle, the truck itself. So it's important that we have that surplus of containers to replenish those containers as they get lost.
And what's this item budget for?
A little over $600,000 this year. Next year it'll be around $400,000 because, as I stated before, we're looking at about $193,000 that is dedicated strictly for the container replacement program, which phases out this year. This is the final year of that program.
Okay.
And a lot of that also, ma'am, is for commercial containers as well. It's not just residential containers. So you got the dumpsters, and the roll-offs that are very expensive to purchase. That's why we have a container shop that try to refurbish those containers as much as possible for reuse.
Correct. And we are trying to bring in more businesses into this area, and they will need containers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, sir. All right. That is close out our citizen comments. And Mr. McLean is on our public hearing. Not you, not yet, Mr. McLean. No, I know you ready. The reason he did not speak on citizen comments because he signed up to speak during public hearing, and there is a slot for applicants, for individuals that may be new to council meetings, where he will have the opportunity to present his presentation. I'm just following the agenda. Now we will go to the regular session. Councilmember Solomon, this is where you can make a motion and pull the item off the agenda to be voted on separate, and that item that you requested to be pulled, I didn't hear any objection from the council, is RS-25-160. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Madam Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda and
It's one.
one.
It's sorry, correct, I stand corrected on that. It's RS-25-161. It's 161. It's RS-25-161.
Correct, and you
Yes, sir.
make a motion on that?
To pull that item off
Thank
the
you.
consent agenda.
Yes, yes. Again, Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we would remove R-25-161 from the consent items.
Okay, can I get a second to the motion? Consent agenda and to remove item RS-25-161 will be voted on separate. Councilwoman Cobb,
I vote yes that we do.
is there a second?
Oh, I second.
Thank you. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0. All right, now, agenda item RS-25-161. Do anyone, okay, Councilwoman Solomon, do you have anything to say on that item before we vote on it?
No, I do want to say that I am, of course, as I've said before and stated before, that I think that we need to call it to an end. I am against this. I'm going to be voting no against it. For that reason, I think that we have expended enough funds for this. I think we ought to call it quits. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Cobb,
Yes, I'm voting for yes. I agree with
do you have a comment? Oh, okay, okay, are you making a motion on this item, or? Okay, so you're not making a motion? Okay, yes, ma'am. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to confirm with the city attorney, the ordinance was not to decriminalize, it was to deprioritize, correct?
The ordinance is primarily a deprioritization ordinance. It does, though, prohibit certain enforcement of low-level marijuana offenses.
And then the Supreme Court just refused the case on jurisdiction.
Right. The plea to the jurisdiction is the only item that was on up to the appellate court, and then the Supreme Court denied the petition for review of the appellate court's review of the district court's decision on the petition.
And has the district court ruled on the
Substantive matters?
Yes.
No.
Thank you. When the citizens voted, I've always stood by when, however many people voted, democracy rules over our representative form of government. And if this was going to be changed, we always said it was either going to be by the court or by another petition back to the citizens to change it. And it's not about whether we're allowing people to smoke weed, sell weed, bathe in weed, or whatever. It's more about democracy and disenfranchisement. If we already have a shortage number of people showing up to vote, we disenfranchise people even more, we'll have less people to vote. And also, it means we don't capitulate, because this opens the door to allow other people, whether it's the county or state, to do things. And we are a home rule city. And home rule allows us, according to the same state law that has been referenced, allows us to determine how resources that we have are expended. So in that case, and I see there's another,
Are you making a motion?
I see that you had other people. I move to approve.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Mayor, I just wanted to make sure that we,
Just a second. There's a motion on the floor now. So we need a second before
there's a
we can.
motion. Okay, no, I just had a comment.
Okay.
I don't have a
Can
second.
we get a Councilwoman Gonzalez? Okay. Now back to you, Councilmember Alvarez.
I just wanted to make sure with our previous motion and vote that we approved the consent agenda items 1 through 7. It seemed like there was a motion and a second to remove RS 25-161, but I'm not sure or confident that we voted on items 1 through 7.
I believe initially that Councilmember Solomon began to state that he wanted to approve, and then the mayor asked him if he was going to remove this. And when the mayor restated the motion, she said it would be to approve the items and remove the 25-161 items. So I believe you did approve the consent agenda.
Thank you, just making sure.
Thank you, City Attorney, for your good notes. Are there any more discussion on this item? Councilmember Solomon.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say for the record that when we're talking about people voting, we have to uphold what people, I believe that we should, but we cannot, and I said this before, if it's a state law, it's a state law. We should not be trying to, I want to make this public, and it's just important, override what the state has already said. If we were to, we didn't like, for example, the speed limit, state law of 60 miles per hour going through Killeen, we couldn't put that on the ballot, and we couldn't vote for it because it's already set. It's already set. And so I just want to put that on for record, that we've got to uphold. We made as city council members, when we raised our right hand, we said we would do that. We said that. And so I just want to make that clear, and I want to make that a statement for the records. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam. And I just want to also state that I respect everyone's statements, and I also second Mayor Pro Tem's comment regarding our voting block. There was a provision in our charter that we have since closed that loophole, but there was an opportunity for citizens to petition. They did so well within their rights, and they voted, and the 70% of our population that voted in such a way as they did have given us this task to take this challenge forward. And we did clearly state that it would be at the determination of the judge, and we would honor whatever the judge said. For me personally, though, this is far deeper than it's marijuana today, but it will be something tomorrow. Mayor Pro Tem touched on the home rule city, and for those of us that do not know what a home rule city, it allows us to the power to govern ourselves locally, and so without the need for consenting approval and interference from state government. There's a long list of conversation that we can have as it relates to that, but this conversation is much more important in ensuring that we're not disenfranchising voters who voted, that we let the courts decide as we stated, and that we also protect our ability as a home rule city to be able to govern ourselves independently is also extremely important. Thank you.
Council member, okay, is there anybody else? So for residents that may be new, basically what is going on is that all council member respect residents and the way you vote. That's not taken away. Some council members feel like the money that we're spending, it should not be used for that. Other council members believe that once we take an oath of office, we should uphold that oath, and we have to follow in our oath of office the state and the federal law. So this is a very difficult decision for all council members, even though the majority of the well, when I say majority, not the city of Killeen residents, but during that voting period, whomever came out to vote, the majority of the people that voted at that time won that stand on we should uphold what they want. So I don't want you to look at any council member in any kind of way, because I honestly believe if the state and the federal government, they want to tell us, and that's not only our municipality, that's all of them throughout the USA, on certain things that we should do. But no one really want to address this issue of marijuana, to say, hey, you can do it just black and white, or you cannot. And that's that gray line that our council members right now they're wrestling with, that the residents do have a voice. That's who we represent. But then on the ethical side, we have council members say, no, I took an oath of office, and this is a conviction to me to break that oath. So this is where we at. And with that being said, all in favor, yes. All opposed, no. So the motion carries 5-2 with Councilwoman Cobb and Councilmember Solomon being in opposition. So before we go into public hearing, Madam Secretary, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Are you ready for me to read the item?
Mr. McLean, you signed up for public hearing, so you have 2 times to speak. One, an applicant, you get the opportunity to speak, and you signed up again to speak, so you will get 2 times. I just wanted to let you know that. All right, Madam Secretary.
Yes, ma'am. PH 25060. Hold a public hearing and consider an ordinance submitted by Republic Engineering on behalf of Boghossian Philip Living Trust and Sagaster Howard 401k Plan and Boghossian Philip Living Trust and Sagaster Watkins and Whelan 401k Flume number 2505 to amend the comprehensive plan's future land use map from an industrial designation to a residential mixed designation for approximately 122.64 acres out of the Vincent L. Evans Survey, abstract number 288. The subject properties are generally located east of the intersection of Roy J. Smith Drive and North Roy Reynolds Drive, Killeen, Texas. The caption of the ordinance reads, "An ordinance amending the comprehensive plan's future land use map by changing the designation of approximately 122.64 acres out of the Vincent L. Evans Survey, abstract number 288, from a industrial designation to a residential mixed designation, providing a severability clause, providing a savings clause, providing for the repeal of conflicting provisions, providing for an effective date."
Thank you. Mr. McLean, can we pull up his slides, please? Oh, I'm sorry, Council, do y'all want Ms. Mesher to go back through the slides again? No, thank you. All right, sir, the floor is yours.
Mayor King, Council, thank you for the opportunity to speak, and good afternoon. I'm Bill McLean. I live in Austin, Texas. I'm the project developer. I won't take much of your time. I think Wallace did a great job in her presentation presenting the facts. I just want to follow up on a few things that have come up during the discussion. Also, our engineer, Joey Theriot, is here if you have any engineering or design questions. Joey's done a great job on this plan. I think it works well for this area. I think it'll breathe new life into this area of North Killeen. Joey's also been a good chaperone for me, if you will, getting to know this area better, meeting people, many of whom have shared their time with me to tell me their thoughts about what Killeen wants, what Killeen doesn't want, including people like Tad Doro and Michael Boyd and many others that I've had an opportunity to visit with. I think that this plan works really well for the area and for the natural features that are on the site. Wallace mentioned the collector road that'll be built as part of the project. And then you have the creeks down at the bottom, cutting through the bottom quarter of the property that act as a buffer as well between the pink, which is industrial, and the residential, which is up towards the top. We've also got the residential next to the green area, which is open space, and that's the largest area of open space, can't be developed. It's under a easement from the WCID. So I think that that lays out well. We've also got some site constraints in that pink area where the industrial is that we think are more compatible with the industrial than they are with the residential. You got a gas pipeline, a overhead electric transmission line, you have the railroad tracks, and that doesn't bother the industrial, but with the residential, we think would be less compatible with that. So we really think the plan works well, and while doing this, we have not reduced the amount of industrial compared to the zoning ordinance, what we could do. We just think that this, as Wallace alluded to, is a better layout. We have staff recommendation. I think we would have had P&Z recommendation had I been there, but circumstances prevented me from doing so. I did have the opportunity to meet with Chairman Minor afterwards and spend an hour with him. And after that meeting, Chairman Minor said that knowing what he knew after that, he would support the project. So here to ask you for your approval of the Flum amendment as presented. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just real quick, and I know I mentioned when I met with you, in the area, I don't know if Wallace, Ms. Mesher could answer this, but in M2, are we allowed to put commercial anywhere? And if so, is that a feasibility? I know you can't decide now, but.
Both the M1 and M2 zoning districts allow for all uses that are allowed in B5 and below.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't have another question. Thanks.
Thank you.
Melissa Brown, you have 3 minutes. She heard me.
Section 31-39 of the Killeen Code of Ordinance talks about land use, not about zoning, but about land use. Specifically, it doesn't talk about rezoning cases, it talks about flume changes. In that, it says that if you use it for a use that is not currently part of the ordinance, which would be our current flume, then it is non-conforming. You can't build a legal non-conforming anything unless the flume is changed and then the zoning is changed. There's a reason it's coming here first, we'll put it that way. So currently, the flume calls for 254 acres of industrial land. How much did it cost to buy Wolf Park? And for how many acres? Do we not hear all the time how we're running out of manufacturing and industrial land? We have industrial manufacturing land there. There is no tax exemption unless the city decides to give a temporary exemption in the form of an abatement as an incentive. But to put in more housing there's no guarantee of revenue. To put in more housing requires more maintenance from the city. It requires more services, all stuff that, am I interrupting you, Mayor and City Manager? Because you are not following your governing standards right now, which also don't say that a developer can speak twice. Okay. We have to look at what is important for the long-term growth of our city. Again, I will go back to this flume was part of the 2040 comprehensive plan that was compiled using a lot of community input. More community input went into that 2040 plan than I have seen go into anything in the city of Killeen since I've lived here for almost 20 years now. So to just disregard it with one public hearing with notification going out to 400 feet around it is to disregard every other person in the city of Killeen who put their time, their effort, their energy, their thoughts, and their concern into our 2040 plan. If you want to respect the voters, if you want to respect the people who live here, then you would respect the fact that they helped to put this plan together and not change it because, also, by the way, it does say that if there is a change, it has to go back to P&Z. You can't just come in with a change after P&Z is decided. If they say no and you want to submit it to P&Z again, then the Director of Planning and Zoning would go back and determine if it's a substantial change to go back to P&Z.
Thank you.
You
Your
would know
time
that.
is up.
May I have 1 minute,
Sherry,
please?
Council, yes or no? Yes or no? No? No. A council member, no? No? Councilman, you said no. Who else? No. Okay, thank you. Ms. Sherry, you just came in. Please, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes. Residents, when I was, Mr. Cagle was passing me a paper, a resident had come in and given it to the secretary to pass to me so she can speak during public hearing. Ma'am, you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council. We're a city defined by growth and opportunity. As Killeen expands, the conversation about housing supply is vital. But the proposed solution, taking our dedicated industrial land and rezoning it for homes, is a dangerous and short-sighted trade-off. We must strongly resist this action. Rezoning industrial land to residential in Killeen would not solve our housing needs. It would dismantle the very economic engineer we need to sustain our future. For Killeen, industrial land is more than just plots of dirt. It's the foundation of our economic diversity and our ability to support Fort Hood. We need industrial zones for the logistics, distribution, and light manufacturing firms that offer crucial middle-class jobs. There are jobs that diversify our economy beyond retail and service sectors, giving our non-military residents stable careers. By paving over this land, we eliminate the sites where these high-valued employers can locate, leading to a poorer job market for future generations. Killeen's proximity to Fort Hood makes our industrial areas essential for contractors, suppliers, and logistical support companies that serve the installation. These businesses require specific zoning, loading docks, and access to major highways like I-14 and 190. Pushing them out means losing vital businesses that directly support the mission of one of the largest military bases in the world. Rezoning this land would be directly undercutting Killeen's strategic advantage as a hub for military support and regional commerce. The second reason is purely fiscal and logistical. Industrial properties contribute significantly more to the city's tax base than residential properties. Yet they demand for far fewer city services like schools, parks, and fire protection. This is what the City Council should be out chasing, new industries. Industrial development generates higher property taxes per acre that helps fund the amenities and services enjoyed by all residents. Replacing a warehouse or manufacturing plant with houses dilutes this revenue in the long run, forcing the city to either raise taxes on current residents or reduce essential services. You can pick one. it's a loss, it's a net loss for the city's finances. When you put homes next to existing industrial operations, like the chemical plant, you create immediate concern. If a chemical spill would happen, what happens then? What happens? You have people all around a chemical plant. This friction drives up costs for businesses, potentially forcing them to relocate further outside Killeen, increasing congestion, and it adds to our
Thank
already
you,
lengthy
ma'am. Your
commutes.
time is up.
Thank you.
Council, I just wanted to remind you that according to our governor's standards and also following our agenda, that a resident can speak, an applicant, they already are on the agenda to speak. That's a given. He followed the proper protocol and filled out the paperwork to speak during public hearing. So he does have 2 times that he can speak. Sir, Mr. McLean, please, the floor is yours if you have anything you wanted to say, because you did follow the proper protocol, and this is not the first time that this has happened.
Thank you,
You have
Mayor.
3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. If I can have my slides back quick, I want to address this idea of the reduction of the industrial and what that means for this area. This is what our FLUM amendment as presented would result in the industrial. That's 1.5 million square feet of industrial. That's still a whole lot of industrial for this area. It's industrial that we're taking a chance that is there, and the need is there for. For the last several years, the EDC has shopped this site as a potential industrial user site, and so far, we don't have a user yet. This chart here, it shows you that this is all of Bell County. In the biggest year that Bell County ever had for industrial absorption was in '24. That was after Tesla and Amazon and Samsung and all those companies went to Williamson County and created an industrial boom that went all the way up to Temple. That was 800,000 square feet in the whole of Bell County. And the projections you can see on into '26 are low. So we feel like this is a responsible amount of industrial for this area and for this site.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Councilmember Boyd? I'm sorry, Mr. Boyd. Good afternoon. You have 3 minutes. You will have to fill out, did you sign up?
I did, yes, ma'am.
Oh. Oh, you signed up before. I'm sorry, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I overlooked that.
I know the
I
rules.
do apologize.
No problem.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, council, mayor, city manager, and our assistant city managers now. Congratulations, Mr. Rooms. I'm here to speak in favor of PH 25-60 to amend the future land use map to a residential mix. This proposed development carries significance for the reason it provides in-demand housing for the growing northeast portion of the city, establishes much desired industrial space in the city, and exhibits a site plan which includes a functional buffer between the residential and the industrial uses. I served on the Killeen Economic Development Corporation Board when discussions about this property were underway, in addition to the Wolf Technology Park property, and always understood the long-term value of having this property in the community to supplement KEDC's efforts. I understand P&Z recommended disapproval of the request based on staff's original recommendation, but there are 4 important points that I think are worth considering. The gross industrial acreage under the proposed Flume Amendment would be greater than existing zoning, increasing from 109 acres to 130 acres, that being accounting for 43% of the land designated for industrial development. Number 2, the proposed Flume Amendment subsequently allows for 1.2 million square feet of industrial space to be constructed for Killeen to absorb, which is very significant and contributes to job growth. The amendment allows for a more orderly and efficient development of housing and industrial space as well as the infrastructure. And staff has changed this original original recommendation from disapproval to approval. It's also very important to note that the Flume request carries consistency with the principles set forth in the comprehensive plan in terms of providing additional market rate residential units in North Killeen. That's from our comprehensive plan. The Flume request also carries compatibility with the character of the surrounding area, addressing the impact on road and water infrastructure within the project, and with the project not expected to hinder the city's ability to provide, fund, or maintain services according to the staff report. All in all, I'm in support of PH 25-060, which provides for new quality housing in Northeast Killeen, establishes 1 million plus square feet of industrial space, and ultimately contributes to the growth metrics necessary to attract a grocery store on the north side. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is closed. Ms. Mesher. And council, I just want you to know that regardless of the changes that you're voting on now, it was already zoned for residential and also industrial. There's nothing that you're doing that was not already in place. The only difference is he wants less residential and more industrial over there. And that property has been vacant forever. And I think Councilmember Alvarez said it best. I read it somewhere. And he pointed out that I'm not telling you how to vote, but that housing is what bring in a grocery store. I heard Councilmember Sagara saying it over and over again, that area, we are big on the north side, this council, to build it up. And this is a project that I just want you to understand that if we do nothing tonight, we don't do anything, he still has the right to build residential and it's still industrial, regardless of what you do. I have a question. I heard some statements that I don't know of anybody on here, this council owning a construction business. I don't know. I don't know where that came from, but that's not true. But my question to you, when planning and zoning rejected it, and the staff first rejected it. Then he came to you and had a conversation, and you reviewed it and noticed that, oh yeah, if you do this, we can support it. Were you required by state or any law that I can think of, or ordinance, to go back and present it to planning and zoning?
No, ma'am. To be clear, the applicant's request did not change. The applicant's request is exactly what it was when it went to planning and zoning. The only thing that changed was staff's recommendation regarding that same request.
So that was not a requirement
No.
to go back to planning and zoning?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Cagle. Thank you, Mrs. Mesher. All right, Council. Councilmember Alvarez.
Madam Mayor, I won't belabor. I'll move to approve PH 25060 as presented.
Councilwoman Gonzalez.
I second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Motion carries 7-0. Madam Secretary, whenever you're ready, discussion items.
DS 25047, discussion regarding small lots.
Oh, welcome back, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This item is a discussion regarding the small lot provisions that were recently adopted by the council. So, as you know, during their 89th regular session, the Texas legislature passed several bills into law that will affect the city's zoning and land use regulations. Notably, Senate Bill 15 was passed into law and became effective on September 1st. It states that the city cannot adopt or enforce an ordinance that requires a residential lot on applicable property to be larger than 3,000 square feet, wider than 30 feet, or deeper than 75 feet. Senate Bill 15 applies only to cities with a population more than 150,000 and a county greater than 300,000. It applies only to tracts of land that are 5 acres or larger, have no recorded plat, and are or will be in an area zoned for single-family homes. It does not apply to land located within 3,000 feet of an airport or military base. So this map shows the areas that we've identified as meeting the criteria set forth by Senate Bill 15. So those areas shown in blue are areas that would allow for development of these 30-foot lots. On August 19th, council adopted an ordinance amending Chapter 31 to provide for small lots and requiring that lots less than 40 feet in width be alley loaded. Section 475B4 of the approved ordinance states regarding off-street parking that all small lots must contain at least one off-street parking space per residential unit. If the small lot is less than 40 feet in width, said parking space and garage, if provided, shall be accessed from the rear of the lot via an alley. Based on council direction, stakeholder meetings were held with the development community on August 29th and September 12th. During the meeting on August 29th, staff met with representatives from WBW Development, and on the meeting on September 12th, we met with representatives from Lennar and the Central Texas Home Builders Association. These images were provided during the stakeholder meeting with Lennar and represent a product that Lennar is looking to build here in Killeen. These are other examples of that same product. So during that second stakeholder meeting, we had a lot of conversations about what standards we would be looking for in terms of street width and alley width, and whether, it's been said several times, we've heard it said that by requiring an alley, we're asking them to build 2 streets instead of 1. So on the left-hand side of your screen is what we're calling conventional development, which is here in Killeen, that's a 31 to 36 foot wide street with a 50 to 60 foot wide lot. And on the right-hand side of your screen is what we're calling alley-loaded development, right? Which is narrower lots with a narrower street in the front and an alley in the rear. So again, conventional development is a 31 to 36 foot street with parking on both sides of the street and a 50 to 60 foot lot. Alley-loaded development, just in contemplating what those development standards would look like, would propose to have the front street, the regular local street in front of the homes be 28 feet in width with parking on one side only, and then have a rear alley in the back that would be 15 feet wide. So this represents a 43 feet of pavement total, which is 7 to 12 feet of additional pavement. So that actually represents an increase of 20 to 40% in pavement width, but a 67 to 100% increase in lot yield with the 30-foot lots. So in other words, yes, there's more pavement that would be required for alley-loaded development, but the density is far greater, and we believe would offset that added expense for the alley. So again, some things to note about conventional development. Obviously, you've got front-facing garages, cars parked in the driveways in front of those front-facing garages. Driveways mean less space for on-street parking in front of the lots. Conventional development is not typically as walkable or as safe for pedestrians. It's also less dense and therefore less fiscally productive than alley-loaded development. Whereas with alley-loaded development, you obviously have no front-facing garages, no driveways, which allows for more space for on-street parking. It's also more walkable, safer for pedestrians, offers enhanced curb appeal, and is more dense and therefore more fiscally productive than conventional development. So in summary, again, Senate Bill 15 dictates that Killeen must allow 30-foot wide lots in some locations. Ordinance 25046, which was adopted by council on August 19th, allows for 40-foot lots with a conventional development pattern and 30-foot lots with an alley-loaded development pattern. All other options, including 30-foot lots with a conventional development pattern, are negotiable via PUD. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Could you go back to the slide with the blue, the map where it all blue?
Yes, ma'am.
Right there. This is areas where they can build.
Yes, ma'am. And to be fair, there is a disclaimer down here that says this is for discussion purposes only. So again, these are areas that we've identified that we believe are developable under Senate Bill 15. However, all development proposals would be evaluated at the time that that proposal is submitted to ensure that it meets all of the criteria outlined by state law.
And this is on the north side, the majority of the blue? Or is
Again,
it
it's
the
anything
south?
over 5 acres that's not within
That's the
3,000
south
feet of an
side.
airport or military base. So it's primarily those large undeveloped parcels towards the south side of town.
South side?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any more discussion? Yes, sir.
Maybe a dumb question, but Stillhouses Lake, I see we have a smidgen. Is that, I know that's also owned by the Corps of Engineers. Does that count as military? That doesn't count as military property in this discussion?
You're talking about this area down here?
Yeah.
That's the lake. So what you're seeing in light blue there is not actually inside our city limits. It's just, that's
So the blue area,
the dark blue areas, yes.
that's outside of 3,000 from that.
So this is not inside our city limits down here. So these areas in here are inside our city limits
I don't think you
currently.
understand. So the rule was 3,000 people on military installation.
That's right.
And is Stillhouse considered?
No.
For
No,
these
the military
purposes?
installation is Fort Hood.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Madam Secretary.
DS 25048, discuss and consider council meeting dates in November and December of 2025.
Mr. Cagle.
Thank you, Mayor. Presentation up, or we may not. That's okay. So every year, we look at November and December and see if there's conflicts with council meeting dates and holidays, specifically Thanksgiving and Christmas. And this year, meeting on the 1st and 3rd, the way the dates fall, you have over a week from your council meeting until the holiday, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas. So it doesn't appear to be a conflict, but if the council would like to rearrange the dates, we went ahead and put this on the agenda because we typically get council input on these 2 months.
And thank you. And I was hoping we can do the 1st and the 2nd back to back and be done. Yes, 1st and 2nd Tuesday. Councilmember Solomon.
Madam Mayor, I see here, say for November, you have Election Day on the 4th.
I was talking about December.
I'm sorry?
I was talking about December. So October
December.
the 4th is Election Day.
Right. So, but we're talking about November and December.
Yes, sir.
So you have December the 4th, and which is Election Day. And then you have, on the 11th, you got Veterans Day. So
On
with
the
that
Monday.
conflict, no, well, I guess we celebrate on the Monday, but the actual day is on the Tuesday.
Okay. So on Veterans Day, is the city closed on that day?
Oh, gosh. Yes, we are.
Okay, good catch, Councilman Solomon. So what is your recommendation?
Well, we could, we have the 18th. Which is the day before the, I think it's the National Leagues of Cities.
Right.
And then you have the 25th, which you could go back to back.
Right, but since the city, this is just a recommendation for November, since they close on November the 11th, which is on a Tuesday,
Right.
Mr. Kager, is there an exception to the rule that we can meet on that 10th?
Yes, ma'am. I believe you can meet on another day if that's.
If we can
well,
do
the
that,
city attorneys.
No, we can. We don't have, just to be clear, the dates that are scheduled right now are November 4th and November 18th. So November 11th wasn't a date that was scheduled to be a council meeting date anyway. But were y'all talking about doing it that week instead of the 4th or the 18th?
I understood that. Mr. Kager, I was trying to do the 11th, is, even though it's on November 11th, the Veterans Day, I was looking at the 10th on that Monday. Because as Councilmember Solomon pointed out, the National League of City is following that. So if we could just knock everything out the first and second week, then it's just predicated on how long that meeting will be going on.
Well, Madam Mayor.
Yes, sir.
We could consider November the 3rd, which is a Monday,
Yes, sir.
and instead of, because that Veterans Day weekend,
So am I understanding on November the 3rd, you don't want to, on November 4th, it's Election Day and you don't want to meet?
I mean, whatever the council desires, but
No, I'm just getting a recommendation.
I think, I guess we could meet Election Day. Do you normally meet on Election Day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, then
Unless you running and we don't know about it. Are you running for something we don't know about? Because that November 4th is in your mind. What's your pleasure, Councilman Solomon? See, my only thing is Christmas and Thanksgiving. If families can use the last 2 weeks in November and December, that's plenty of time for them to travel. Some family members pull their kids out, and Ramon, you can attest, you like to travel, and you spend a week, he goes out country when he take his family. I'm not saying y'all doing that, but I think you are, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that's why, for staff, I like to give them those last 2 weeks in each month, just to do what they want to do. But council, is up to you. We can go with Mr. Cagle recommendation, what he has, or we can, whichever way, I'm fine. He had a good point, it doesn't change anything, first and third, we can keep
my
it that way.
recommendation is, of course, keep November as it is.
Okay, November, wait a minute, let me hold that thought, I'm coming back. Councilmember Adams, Mayor Pro Tem, you asked to speak, is you okay with November as is?
Yeah, I was going to say
Okay,
November as is.
back to you, Councilman Solomon.
Keep November as it is, and then, have to really look at December.
Councilmember Gonzalez, you said the first 2 weeks in December. Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, second and ninth.
They saying 2nd and 9th of December. Are you okay with that, Councilman Solomon?
I'm okay with the council, yes.
Okay, everybody okay with the 2nd and 9th of December meeting? Okay, everybody okay with that, Councilwoman Cobb? Are you with us? You okay with that? All right. So, Mr. Cagle, what they have came to the agreement on November as he is, and December, the 1st and 2nd of December, Tuesdays.
Got it.
Madam Secretary.
Yes, ma'am.
Council member requests for a future agenda item. Madam Secretary?
RQ 25009, RFP for land banking or similar alternatives.
Thank you. Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep this brief. I know we're not supposed to go into too much detail on this. You can
Yes, sir.
read what I put on the request. For those of you that don't know, I grew up right down here in downtown behind the 10th Street Post Office. I previously worked for the city of Killeen. When I first started, I was a code enforcement officer in these same areas, so I'm very familiar with the correlation between crime and grime and lots of research that have gone into that. I would like for us to put on a future agenda to discuss land banking, alternatives and ways that we can address the growing number of vacant and dilapidated residential properties surrounding downtown Killeen. And I think one of the ways that we can do that is to create and disseminate an RFP to entities like Center for Community Progress, where they can come back to us with a proposal and at least start the conversation. That doesn't tie us to anything. It doesn't make a commitment either way, but at least it starts the dialogue back and forth as to what tools are available to us as a community to address this growing issue.
Councilmember Alvarez, before you turn off your mic, for the residents and people that may not know, explain what's land banking to them.
Land banking, it's a public-private partnership that usually involves a municipality, a tax appraisal district, the county, sometimes a school district, and sometimes it involves a private affordable housing development component to come in and take these areas that have these vacant, abandoned residential properties that are costing the taxpayers money, because every time code enforcement goes out there to mow the grass, to clean up the trash, to board up the windows, whatever the case have you, that's taking taxpayer dollars to do that. And there's some of these properties where we've been chasing that tail since the 80s. And that's money that we're never going to get back because there's no responsible party to pick up that tab. So land banking starts collecting these properties, and then, different communities have different rules. Some, they have an adopt a side yard program where they may offer the vacant lot to one of the neighboring properties, and they say, hey, if you maintain it, you take care of it for 5 years, then we'll deed it over to you at no cost. Some of them have, like I said, affordable housing components where they come in and build new affordable housing units to the 30% AMI. There's lots of different things that you can do. It was really structured the way that's going to be tailored to our community. So I think it would be a good tool in our tool bag, but I'm just trying to get the conversation started. That's it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And council, as you know, staff has already talked about this item, and they're ready to present at any time. All I need to do is get a motion for it to go on the agenda, if that's your choice. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I want to say
Mayor
that
Pro
this.
Tem.
Can you hear me?
This is something that we can only vote on. It's
Yep.
not discussion.
I got it. I'm not talking about a discussion. I agree with Councilmember Alvarez.
Is this a motion?
Yeah, I'm about to say it now. I move to approve RQ 25-009 at a time appropriate for staff to come back with a presentation.
Thank you. Councilmember Solomon.
Second.
All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Quit playing. I hear y'all down there. Motion carries 7-0. Mayor Pro Tem.
Madam Mayor, move to adjourn.
Thank you. Councilmember Sagara. He seconded. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. All right, meeting adjourned. You showing that. You tried to talk.